From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger. High school football kicks off tonight in Montana with one very noticeable difference. Most of the games, including the ones in Yellowstone County, will not have fans for now because of fears over the spread of the coronavirus. Yellowstone County Health Officer John Felton said the plan is more restrictive with the hopes that it can be eased if case counts and transmission rates slow as schools begin to open up. Well, many parents and fans want a chance to see school sports now and are rallying in protest of that plan. Q2's David J. has more from the rally in downtown Billings. David?
We have to keep working. We have to keep.
Arrests are here at the Yellowstone County Courthouse lawn, about 150 so far. The Montana Sports Fans Alliance, as well as Let Us Watch Yellowstone County out here sponsoring this event. Joining us right now is one of the parents. It's Brian Macy. He's the founder of the Montana Sports Fans Alliance. And Brian, what is all this about? This is all about as well you as parents and your children as far as sports fans and all.
Yeah, it's a way for us to be heard because we've not been invited to the table. That's the hardest part with all of this to digest is we weren't given input or solicited for input. We've not had a seat at the table. We've presented a plan. It's easy to complain and not present a solution, right? We've presented a solution that actually mirrors what School District 2 had for their reopening plan. So we need to be heard. This is about our families. This isn't about politics. This isn't about anything other than some people in different offices in the county deciding or basically telling us that they're better at parenting our kids and protecting our kids than we are. And that's unacceptable.
And what's the message as far as the plan that you're trying to get out and hoping that the people that can make those decisions here?
You know, our goal here is four guests for home team and 4 guests for the visiting team. Keep everybody isolated, keep their stands. We can do separate portable restrooms. Keep everybody isolated, whether it's inside a gym or at De La Stadium. De La Stadium holds 5,000 people. You telling me we can't get distancing for 1,000 people in a 5,000 seat stadium? I'm not buying it. Same with volleyball. At most, you do the same 4 and 4. You might have a couple hundred people, and most high schools in the state hold 500 or more people, especially in the AA.
And for you as a parent and for your children, how important is it to be able to have fans out there, parents, families out there?
Absolutely important. We've been there since our first breath. And our immediate family, my wife and I, have hauled our kids all over doing what they're passionate about and help them be the very best at what they can be. Now it's time to be there and watch them and proudly watch and see the fruits of their labor, as well as grandparents need to be there too. But initially we're pressing for immediate family. If we're healthy at home, I don't understand how that dynamic changes between my house and De La Stadium.
Okay, great, thank you. That is Brian Macy. He's one of the speakers here. He's getting up in just a couple of minutes, as a matter of fact, and we'll have a little bit more on this at 10. Now, Russ, that's the latest from here. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, David. It was another rough day on the COVID-19 front as Montana topped 100 deaths after 6 additional patients died today. 4 of those deaths are tied to a recent outbreak at a long-term care facility in Flathead County. The other 2 deaths were reported in Yellowstone and Beaverhead counties. Montana's death toll when it comes to the virus now stands at 104. Governor Bullock calling the number a somber statistic. The state has now seen more than 7,000 total cases after a jump of 134 today. Active COVID cases are now more than 1,800. Well, after more than 10,000 surgeries and 34 years of service to the Billings community, a legendary Billings Clinic heart doctor is turning in his scrubs for retirement. But as he goes, he will leave behind a legacy of change in both technology and knowledge. MTN's Andrea Lutz talked with Dr. Scott Milliken about a career spent holding hearts in his hands.
Bless. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
If it's true what they say, a heart is made to be broken.
If you Google the heart, it's Googled more than any other organ.
Then Scott Milligan was made to fix them.
Well over 10,000. But I knew there was something great here. I knew there was something special.
He's spent 34 years working for Billings Clinic.
We packed the family up. We came to Billings, joined Billings Clinic, and and got to work.
Working to build a rewarding career on the shoulders of some of the best heart doctors Billings has ever seen.
Today for me is the day I left the arena, and I'm going to head up into the bleachers. And so I had a great day with my incredible crew that helps with every operation, our heart team that we do. Then the most important job after actually operating on the patient is to go give the family the good news. So I was with my clinical coordinator, and we were going to talk to the family, and I walked around the hall, and there was a lot of people clapping their hands for me, and that's when I lost it.
During his career, he watched as Billings Clinic evolved from a practice to a massive hospital, saw technology advance to make cardiac surgery more safe and efficient, and helped develop a specialized heart team. But it's his patients and their stories that will leave the biggest impact.
A few months ago, a fellow came up to me and he said, are you Dr. Milliken? I said, yes, I am. And he said, I want to thank you. You operated on my dad back in 1986. And I said, thank you very much. Thanks for saying something. And as he walked away, he said, oh, by the way, he's still doing great. And I said, how old's your dad? And he said, he's 95.
And as he leaves the OR, he'll surely take heart in knowing Billings is his greatest career highlight.
As I look around, I'm so proud of what we've become. When you look back on 34 years of practice, you get some perspective. And if you have perspective, it allows you to see trajectory. And I think Billings Clinic is on a great path.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Well, Andrea, of course, asked Dr. Milliken what his plans are. He says he's going to rest, spend time with his family, and raise his kids, but he also says there will be a 2.0 that will involve service to others. Billings Leader is making a big push to get support from residents ahead of the upcoming public safety mill levy.
We will never be able to afford to have an officer on every corner, nor would we want one. And you have to be as interested in your own safety and your neighbor's safety as we are.
Billings City Administrator Chris Kukalski, along with Police Chief Rich St. John and Fire Chief Bill Rash, held 2 educational sessions this week to talk about the importance of that levy and what it would cost homeowners. The city's police and fire departments still rely on a 2004 levy that raises $8.2 million a year. The city wants to repeal that fixed amount and replace it with one that collects 60 mills worth of property taxes, an extra cost of about $57 a year on a home worth $212,000. Well, the next public safety mill levy presentation will be next Wednesday night at 6:30 in Pioneer Park. Financial advisor Gary Buchanan chaired the committee that helped get the 2004 levy passed, along with the late George Solover. And Billings, of course, has grown considerably since then.
Well, it has grown, and what also has grown is some inflation. So the original levy was capped by state law at about $8.2 million. If you just look at inflation for the last 16 years, that's only worth about $6 million now. And we need more than ever, especially businesses, to fund our law enforcement and fire department.
Ultimately, the decision is up to voters. Ballots for the levy were sent out in the mail today. For the 3rd straight month, Montana saw its unemployment number drop in July. Montana's unemployment rate dropping by nearly a full percentage point to 6.4% last month. That rate is 3.8 percentage points below the national rate of 10.2%. Since the height of the pandemic back in April, Montana has added 42,000 jobs. 21,000 of those come in leisure and hospitality. Education and health services added 900 jobs in July alone. The Montana Department of Labor and Industry says most people have been unemployed, or most who were unemployed were able to find work back with their original employer. Well, up next on tonight's MTN 530 News here on Q2, the U.S. Postal Service continuing to make waves across America. The latest on the impacts here in Montana. And later in sports, season openers on the football and soccer field. Scott and Casey both check in on the road.
And coming up in weather, I tell you what, it looks like we're going to see what happened to all the smoke. It was here, but now it's gone. And we'll also talk about your weekend, which doesn't look too bad. We'll chat about that coming up in a few more minutes.